Did Adam and Eve keep the Sabbath? Though no explicit command is recorded, Genesis 2 verse 2 to 3 shows God sanctified the seventh day, like Cain's murder before the sixth commandment was written in Genesis 4 verse 8 to 11. The moral law existed before Sinai. Genesis 26 verse 5 confirms Abraham kept God's command, evidence that the Sabbath, part of that law, was known pre-Sinai. Why didn't Jesus or the apostles teach the Sabbath after the resurrection? Their actions taught it clearly. Luke 4 verse 16 shows Jesus taught on the Sabbath. Paul continued this pattern in Acts chapter 13 verse 42 to 44, in Acts 17 verse 2, in Acts chapter 18 verse 4, preaching to the Jews and Gentiles. Acts chapter 15 verse 21, the Jerusalem Council. James confirms that Moses' writings were read in the synagogue every Sabbath, indicating ongoing Sabbath instruction. Where is the law divided into the moral and ceremonial in the Bible? Well, the 10 Commandments of the moral law were written by God's finger on stone, Exodus 31 verse 18, showing permanence. The ceremonial laws, which involved ordinances, sacrifices, and feasts, Leviticus 23, were written parchment paper by Moses, which were shadows pointing to Christ, Colossians chapter 2 verse 14 to 17, and Hebrews chapter 10 verse 1. The moral law remains binding. The ceremonial was fulfilled at the cross. This is the law which was fulfilled and done away with, according to Hebrews chapter 10 verse 1. The Sabbath is the seal of God. Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 12 to 20, and Ezekiel chapter 30 and Exodus 31 verse 13 calls the Sabbath sign between God and his people. Revelation chapter 7 verse 3 and 4 shows God's end-time inner sealing, while the Sabbath is the outward sign of loyalty to the Creator. Ephesians 1 verse 13 says, by whom you are sealed. The word by whom indicates agents. Jesus entered the most holy place in 1844, according to Exodus chapter 25 verse 8 to 9 and Hebrews chapter 8 verse 1 to 5. The earthly sanctuary was a pattern of the heavenly. The high priest first entered into the holy place, then entered the most holy place once a year, according to Leviticus chapter 16. Christ followed this pattern, first entering the holy place after his ascension, Hebrews 9 verse 24. Then the most holy place in 1844, as typified in Daniel chapter 8 verse 14. The investigative judgment is biblical. Yes, there is judgment before Christ comes. Daniel chapter 7 verse 9 to 10 and Revelation chapter 14 verse 7 show the investigative judgment as true. This aligns with the Day of Atonement typology in Revelation in Leviticus chapter 16, and Daniel chapter 8 verse 14 marks the start of Christ's final phase of ministry in 1844. Is salvation conditional law keeping? No. Salvation is by grace through faith in Jesus Christ. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 8 to 9. By grace I saved through faith, and that not of yourself. But faith produces obedience. Romans 3 verse 31 says, faith establishes the law. John 14 verse 15 says, if you love me, you keep my commandments. And James chapter 2 verse 17 shows that faith without works is dead. Obedience is not the root of salvation. Is anyone the final authority? No, the Bible is the final authority. Isaiah 8 verse 20 says, if they speak not according to this, there's no light in them. Ellen White always uplifted the Bible. Scripture is our basis. Revelation chapter 12 verse 17 and Joel chapter 2 verse 28 supports the gift of prophecy in the end times. The writings are tested by and are subject to the Bible. Now my challenge to you is, show me in our writings in the Seventh-day Adventist where we give Ellen White the supremacy over the Bible. Because you made a claim, you need to back up that claim by evidence. Is Isaiah 66 verse 23 symbolic of ceremonial feasts? No. Colossians 2 verse 17 shows that feasts were shadows fulfilled at the cross. Isaiah 66 verse 22 to 23 speaks of the new earth. If the Sabbath is symbolic, so must be the new heavens and the new earth, which is absurd. Revelation 22 verse 2 supports a literal new moon cycle. Thus, Isaiah 66 verse 23 refers to literal Sabbath worship in the eternal kingdom. Peter in 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 13 says, but we, according to his promise, look for a new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Peter refers to this same verse as literal. So, the new heavens and the new earth are literal, the Sabbath is literal as well. What does it mean to be not under the law? Not under the law means not under its condemnation. Romans chapter 6 verse 14. Galatians chapter 5 verse 18 says, those who are led by the Spirit are not under the law. Being led by the Spirit produces the fruits of the Spirit, as in Galatians chapter 5, verse 22 and 23, which align with the law. Against such there is no law. Romans chapter 3, verse 20 says, the law gives knowledge of sin. John chapter 14, verse 15 and James chapter 2, verse 17 shows that love and faith lead to obedience. So not under the law is not under the penalty, because being led by the Spirit produces obedience to the law.